The bold and the beautiful spoilers reveal that an emotional storm is about to sweep through the main characters as Hope, the woman at the center of many events in Los Angeles, is considering withdrawing from the drama surrounding Forrester Creations to focus on what is most important, her son, Douglas. After months of being out of touch, Hope's absence from Douglas' life is taking a toll, and her decision to travel to Paris to find that sacred connection could change the entire course of the show. Hope, a mother lost in a whirlwind of power and passion. Hope was once a symbol of devotion and responsibility. However, after a series of events at Forrester Creations, especially a dramatic power struggle, she seems to have lost her way. Fractured relationships, emotional decisions, and especially a controversial love affair with Carter have gradually distanced Hope from the most important thing in her life, her son Douglas. Douglas moved to Paris with Thomas, the boy's biological father, months ago. Instead of expressing her longing to reunite, Hope buried herself in the turmoil at the fashion company, an environment filled with calculation, jealousy, and lies. She never took the initiative to go to Paris, never once held her son to ask how he was doing, and now, when Douglas started calling Paris Buckingham Mom, viewers' hearts were crushed. The forgotten boy Douglas was once at the center of the painful dispute between Hope and Thomas. His feelings for Hope were not something that could be easily replaced until she gradually disappeared from his life. The last time the boy returned to LA, his eyes longing for a mother's embrace were met with only indifference because Hope was absorbed in her own worries. Now, when Hope begins to reconsider, is it too late? Will Douglas forgive? And the cruelest thing is, does the boy still think of Hope as his mother? A new beginning or a cover-up? While Hope struggles with her emotions, Thomas is taking steady steps. He and Paris are engaged, even planning a lavish wedding at the Forrester estate. Everything has happened without any news being widely publicized. No one called Thomas to share the joy. No one mentioned him at the recent family reunion. Is Thomas truly happy with Paris? Or is his heart still not letting go of Hope? Opportunity or emotional trap? If Hope decides to leave LA for Paris, this will be a major turning point. Not only is it a journey to find her son, it is also an opportunity for her to escape the toxic environment that has eroded her soul, from the fights at Forrester to her ambiguous relationship with Carter. When she sets foot in Paris, will Hope realize how many precious things she has lost? And more importantly, will she still have the chance to fix everything? How will Thomas react when he suddenly sees Hope standing at his door? Is Paris willing to give up her place as Douglas' mother? Are old feelings strong enough to rekindle the fire between Thomas and Hope? In the mansion, Paris, the woman who was once expected to bring peace to Thomas, is preparing a dinner party. When she sees Hope, Paris's expression changes. She is not surprised. She knew this day would come. But what Paris did not expect was the look in Thomas's eyes when he looked at Hope. It was not the look of a man who had let go of the past. It was a look full of nostalgia, as if his heart had just been awakened from a long sleep. Paris walked over, smiling, trying to appear calm. Hope, it's nice of you to visit Douglas. I know he misses you. Thank you, Paris. You took good care of him, Hope replied, trying to keep a smile. But inside, she was torn apart. Douglas listened to the two women's conversation, his eyes filled with confusion. He loved Paris. She was sweet, devoted, always there for him. But the presence of his birth mother stirred a storm of emotions in the boy, Thomas Forrester. A man torn between past and present. Thomas walked into the dining room, stunned to see Hope. He was overcome with emotion, not just by surprise, but by the hope that had never died. Even though he was engaged to Paris, his heart was not completely hers. He pulled Hope out onto the terrace, where the Paris sunset stained the windows with gold. I didn't think you'd come. I thought you'd forgotten. I never forgot Douglas, Thomas. I just got lost, Hope said softly. It wasn't just Douglas, was it? Thomas looked straight into her eyes. The question left Hope speechless. Neither of them said anything more, but they both knew there was something between them that had never ended. The heart of war in the following days, Hope stayed in Paris. She walked with Douglas, cooked with him, read books before bedtime like before. Gradually, Douglas began to smile more, hug his mother tighter, and call her Mom naturally and affectionately. Paris watched from afar, her heart aching. Even though she tried to hide it, Douglas's gaze whenever he was with Hope said it all. The boy didn't need two mothers, he only needed one, and that was Hope. The ring and the promise Thomas invited Hope to walk along the Seine River wasn't a date, but a final sharing before he made his decision. The two talked like before, recalling their mistakes, unfinished dreams, and their love that never faded. After a moment of silence, Thomas pulled out from his pocket the engagement ring, not the one he gave Paris, but the one he had kept for years, just for Hope. I've never loved anyone like I love you, Hope. If you're ready, come back to me. To Douglas, where you belong. Hope said nothing. She just held out her hand, and as the ring slid onto her finger, fate was sealed. The news spread when Hope and Thomas returned to Los Angeles. The news spread like wildfire. Brooke cried when she saw her daughter find happiness again. Ridge was shocked, not by the union, but by the way Thomas dared to change to become a better man. Steffi was furious. She didn't believe Hope deserved her brother. Paris was devastated. She no longer had a place in the Forrester family, and her heart was broken. Carter, the man Hope had almost loved, was silent, watching in pain as the woman who had once belonged to him was now with someone else. The engagement ring that shocked the town, a leaked photo from behind the scenes, shocked fans of the show. Hope returned from Paris, wearing a sparkling new engagement ring. And standing next to her is none other than Thomas Forrester. This incident immediately caused a stir in the fashion world and the Forrester family. What will Steffi, the sister who has always doubted Hope, say? Will Ridge and Brooke support or oppose? And how will Paris, who was once considered Thomas's future wife, react? Rumors about Hope and Thomas becoming a couple have appeared many times, but were only speculation. But now everything has become true. A shocking truth, bringing a series of new changes to the future. Awakening and redemption after all, the biggest question is still, what will Hope do next? What lessons has she learned from her mistakes? Douglas can forgive, but it won't be easy. She must prove her love through actions, not through late regrets. And if Thomas truly loves Hope, he must overcome prejudice, the past, and even the hurt to start over. The Bold and the Beautiful is heading into a new chapter filled with drama and emotion. The love triangle between Hope and Thomas Paris could be at the center of the upcoming storm. And in the middle of it all, Douglas is at the center of the choice. It's time for Hope to step up, strong and courageous, to reclaim what's most important, her family. One of the most heartbreaking and emotional storylines is about to hit Liam's family and loved ones. His life, once filled with love and family conflicts, will now face a completely different challenge, a life-or-death struggle when the unusual signs of his health begin to reveal a terrible truth. With the unexpected return of Dr. Bridget Forrester and a tense collaboration with Dr. Grace Buckingham, a series of medical mysteries begin to unravel, and at the center of it all is Liam. The unsettling return of two female doctors. Dr. Bridget Forrester's return is more than just a coincidence. When Liam's initial symptoms of severe headaches, insomnia, and mild personality changes were initially dismissed as the result of chronic stress, however, when Dr. Grace began to notice unusual patterns in Liam's recent MRI scans, She couldn't ignore them. Bridget, a prominent clinical neurologist with close ties to the Spencer family, is called in to help handle the case. In the coming episodes, viewers will see two strong women who represent not only medical knowledge, but also the voice of compassion join forces to seek medical truth in a maze of data, diagnoses, and almost zero treatment possibilities. Hanging verdict, the preview of The Bold, and the beautiful left fans stunned as the scene unfolded in Finn's office. Dr. Bridget and Grace entered, their faces tense, their eyes filled with hesitation. Bridget held a medical file in her hand, showing a tumor deep in Liam's brain, too close to the brain's motor and emotional centers. When Bridget informed Finn that Liam's tumor was terminal and could not be surgically treated, a deadly silence fell. Finn, who had always been as steady as a mountain, fell into a state of paralysis for the first time in years. As a doctor, he understood what this meant: hopelessness, the limits of medicine, and perhaps the approaching death of a friend, a loved one. The man in search of a miracle, however, Finn was not one to give up easily. Despite hearing the bad news, he immediately switched to fighting mode. As a doctor with a global reputation, Finn began accessing the latest clinical trials, international medical centers, and contacted experts in stem cell therapy, nanomedicine, and even robotic surgery in the hope of finding a way to live. Finn fought not only as a doctor but also as a friend, brother, and protector who refused to accept defeat. He could not watch Liam go in vain. He believed in the miracle that when modern medicine combined with a strong heart, one could overcome even death. Chain reaction in town. No one in the Spencer family was prepared for the terrible news. Brooke broke down when she heard the news. Steffi, who had so many memories with Liam, felt like she had lost a part of herself. Hope was devastated at the thought of Beth losing her father. Bill, a tough and experienced man, would allow himself to cry for the first time for the son he had been estranged from. He could not believe that one of the potential heirs to the Spencer empire was facing an irreversible end. Liam's former rivals and enemies in his love story have now put everything aside. They sit together, no longer fighting, but only pain and prayer. Is this a permanent farewell? Or the beginning of a miracle? The Bold and the Beautiful is planning to end Liam's journey tragically as part of the character's farewell script. The detailed description of the inoperable tumor seems to indicate a sacrifice or a tragic end. However, there is still a glimmer of hope. Finn may be the one to break the precedent by discovering a previously unpublished treatment or daring to perform an unprecedented surgery. But this also means sacrificing something, even his reputation, career, or even his life. The struggle between life and death, between love and separation. The upcoming episodes promise to be a series of tearful and suspenseful scenes. A farewell ceremony before entering the final treatment, a letter Liam leaves for Beth and Hope, or a hasty wedding so he can end his life as a complete husband and father. The audience will witness every piece of emotion bursting out: anger, pain, hope, regret. This is not just a medical story, but a test of family love, sacrifice, and the strength of humanity. If you want to expand on the details of the dialogue between Finn, Bridget, and Grace, or the individual scenes of Bill, Hope, Steffi as they face this pain, I can continue writing a sequel with more emotional climaxes. Do you want me to continue?